Getting fair value for our known resources is the only way that we can be self-sustaining and less reliant upon the federal government. It also fulfills the mandates in our state constitution. But inherent in that responsibility is also the need to explore for more. On the national scene, with changes in Congress, it appears our chances to open ANWR diminish. However, I'll continue to stand alongside our congressional delegation to prove to the rest of the nation that Alaska must be the foundation of a national energy plan. Alaska can create a more secure United States by providing domestic supplies of energy with ANWR, with NPRA, with a gas line, and with alternative power projects. And we must be ready. But we've dedicated time now to the revenue side of the balance sheet. Now it's important to reiterate spending commitments. First, my philosophy. We're going to be working together for 4 years, some of us here, so I want you to know my philosophy. More government isn't the answer. But we all know government's proper role is to help change the conditions to improve lives and economically stimulate communities. Government can't make you happy, it can't make you healthy, it can't make you a productive member of society, but government's role is to provide the tools. One such tool is education. My commitment to education is unwavering. My budget includes fully funding the K-12 foundation formula. In addition, I've included more than $200 million in new dollars to cover the increased retirement costs for local school districts so that more local school district dollars get into the classroom where that money belongs. Remember, we're facing a potential $10 billion PERS-TERS retirement plan shortfall that affects every local school. Our $200 million line item for school districts is part of the $500 million proposal to help the districts and local governments and the state alleviate the pension plan burden while we work with the legislature on a long-term solution. I've also committed to help provide local school districts with more predictability for better planning by supporting early funding of education. So I'll introduce a separate education appropriation bill, ask the legislature please to begin work on it immediately, and ask that it's passed within the first 60 days of the session. Our local school districts deserve to know what they have to work with early enough for them to create efficiencies through better planning. They shouldn't have to pink slip teachers in the spring and make last-minute rehire attempts in the fall. But my vision for education is certainly not only about funding. It's about changing the way we think about and operate our schools. It's not the amount of money we pour into each child necessarily, but how we are spending that money that counts. We'll look at successful education programs statewide and outside so that we can replicate them here, and we'll look at new approaches. We've got to do something different. Our high school graduation rate is 61%, and that's unacceptable. Our VOTEC opportunities need to grow so that our kids stay in school and then fill the voids in our industries, and at the same time, we need to make sure that those who want to go to college are ready. We need to know that we're going to be able to fill those needs in our workplace. Right now, we know we need more mechanics and technicians and teachers and doctors and nurses. We shouldn't have to import our workforce when it's growing up right before us. And so a centerpiece of my administration is our commitment to a world-class education system. Let's take education and move beyond No Child Left Behind to ensure that no Alaskan is left behind. We'll work with our congressional delegation to adapt federal mandates in fitting here in Alaska, and I know some of you have already been on this, and I thank you for that. I'm very thankful that Senator Lisa Murkowski is also committed to changing federal requirements so that they make sense for the uniqueness here. Flexibility is needed for rural schools especially. To meet our challenges, I've asked our departments to bring together the private sector, the Department of Labor, post-secondary institutions, and our wonderful alternative education choices here, including homeschools, to ensure that students have the skills to meet Alaska's workforce needs. and I'll continue to ask families and individuals to take more responsibility. You'll hopefully find this theme consistent through my administration. We have cooperative efforts that we need to make, and we need to encourage the personal accountability. We must think outside the box to make true progress. You know, we had 80% unemployment rates in our villages before we built the oil pipeline more than 3 decades ago. And we still have 80% unemployment rates in some areas, and something's got to change. Sub-cabinets are going to be established, and we're going to have existing cabinet goals to be amended because something has to change here. We have to progress here. Let me give an example. We have a fish cabinet, and basically what I found is that what it's done is distribute grants. Well, no. Now we'll work with this fish cabinet to work with labor and workforce development to create new ideas on everything from employment opportunities to new seafood marketing initiatives, not just merely hand out money. I've included in my budget, we talk about economic development in our local communities, for support of communities, $48 million in support. That includes the need to balance the high cost of fuel. And that's why we also fully fund power cost equalization. The state will also take care of the unexpected PERS and TERS increase that communities face this year to the tune of $77 million. But again, the state cannot sustain this level of spending. We can do this because we have a surplus today. Providing the funds should help communities focus on core responsibilities, including the safety of their residents. And the state will focus on that as well. We've got to improve all aspects of public safety with new resolve. Alaskans deserve to be able to trust those who are sworn to protect. At the core of that, we must recruit and retain the best. We can and now must work in trusting partnerships to ensure that every citizen feels safe and is treated fairly. We'll also restore the balance needed between protecting the public and the public's wildlife resources so that we can continue to enjoy access to hunting and fishing. And the way to do that, we have to undo the recent merger of the state troopers' brown shirts and blue shirts and move in a new direction through separation. So tonight we're announcing the new Alaska Wildlife Trooper coming soon to a fishing stream near you. With our goal of creating safer and healthier communities, it's imperative that we aggressively tackle substance abuse and violence throughout Alaska and find solutions to the rising costs of health care. By administrative order, I'll enact our Alaska Health Strategies Council to effectively provide access and help lower the cost of health care. We must deal with our looming health care crisis, from the young to our elderly. And with respect to our elders who built this state and toiled before us and for us, my budget keeps the state's promise and funds the longevity bonus for those who were enrolled in the program scheduled to phase out. We'll also propose legislation to continue senior care for those who meet current eligibility criteria.